when heritage objects are renewed, we also should what's going to be the use of this object, what society thinks, because locals who are going to use this object, they also have their say. Not only architects have their say. And such existential questions are being solved not only here in Latvia, but also in Estonia. And I'd like to give the floor to the last presentation of Paulus, ICOMOS Estonia president. And just like also she is a member of different scientific committees. Please, the floor is yours.
I am very, very happy to be finally here in Kuldiga. When I landed with a boat in Ventspils this morning, then I was asked that have I been in Kuldiga before? And I have a feeling that I have been, because I have heard so much about it. So congratulations, Kuldiga, on your UNESCO nomination. And I'm very happy to be among my Latvian colleagues. I am president of ICOMOS Estonia, and when I was asked to give a presentation on the occasion of the celebration of the anniversary of Venice Charter, as well as NARA document, that is 94, then I instantly thought about our everyday practical lives as we as heritage experts and state officials. I have been more than 20 years working in the Environmental Board of Estonia, taking care of cultural landscapes and cultural heritage of national parks. How these practical implications of these theories are put into policies, as well as being a member of international ICOMOS big family. I have been in rights-based approaches and cultural landscape scientific committees working exactly on the intersection of heritage as valued by heritage communities and from cultural rights perspectives there. So exactly the NARA document and FARA convention that I'm going to talk about have influenced a lot some of the resolutions of ICOMOS International, as well as UNESCO operational guidelines, because rights-based approaches are there. My presentation is about ICOMOS work in Estonia. I'm not talking about what we have done in national parks, how we have managed them with cooperation councils and implemented cultural heritage as vernacular heritage tradition or cultural continuity. But as president of ICOMOS Estonia, we have dealt a lot lately with Heritage Conservation Act of Estonia, as all the conservation areas have new conservation regimes, and everything goes via us, so we think about these principles a lot. And now new Heritage Conservation Act of Estonia is from 2018 it is being in review, and we are just making amendments to the Heritage Conservation Act, as well as to explanatory letters. One thing good in Heritage Conservation Act of Estonia in 2018, it is the aim of heritage conservation is to preserve the authenticity of monuments. And in the explanatory letter of the authenticity of the monuments, It is, of course, this Article 9 of Venice Charter there, boom. So this small mistake of a distinct feature that is actually the, translation mistake from French to English is there, as well as the mantra of new must be new, and as well as very strict saying that when you make some addition, it must bear the stamp of being new. So nothing about NARA document, nothing about keeping it into the vein of tradition, because it depends on the type of heritage, what methods you use to, what is the authenticity of the object. But it is good in the sense that it refers to international obligations and international documents and international ICOMOS standards. So as soon as you refer to UNESCO convention, then you actually refer to UNESCO operational guidelines, and then you refer to actually to NARA document. Because authenticity in UNESCO operational guidelines is described or defined via NARA document. And exactly these principles that were in the Venice Charter preamble about keeping the history as living witnesses to the future generations that come after us is actually elaborated in NARA document, and as well as Article 3 of the Venice Charter is more elaborated in NARA document too. So when you put aside Article 9 of Venice Charter, it's cool. So in NARA document, it is elaborated that depending on the type of cultural heritage and its cultural context, properties may be understood to meet the conditions of authenticity in if their cultural values are truthfully and credibly expressed through a variety of attributes, including form and design, materials and substance, use and function, traditions, techniques and management systems, location and setting, language and other forms of intangible heritage, spirit and feeling, other internal and external factors. Of course, in the case of law construction tradition, it is totally different as in the case of archaeological remains, or as in the case when you think of archaeological remains or sacred natural sites, you totally differently attribute there. And as soon as you mix these things, the problems arise. So that is cool. And the second thing that Estonia has ratified it as well, Latvia too, so most of the European countries have ratified absolutely amazing Convention on the Value of Cultural Heritage for Society, where it is not only world that cultural heritage is a group of resources inherited from the past which people identify independently of ownership as a reflection and expression of their constantly evolving values, beliefs, knowledge, and traditions. And it includes all aspects of the environment, that means cultural environment, resulting from the interaction between people and places through time. And heritage community consists of people who value specific aspects of cultural heritage which they wish within the framework of public action to sustain and transmit to future generations. So how these very cool principles are implemented into concrete actions and concrete results in the heritage conservation, it is very simple. It is via rights of the heritage communities. At the moment, there is a framework of local communities, but heritage communities consist of local communities, communities of place, communities of practice, and communities of interest, basically. And exactly the procedural and constitutive rights must be there That is, there is free, prior informed consent, as it is in the case of indigenous people. But actually, you must, when you take that procedure together with the rights owners via the heritage conservation, it bears the best results. Always the results that actually you couldn't imagine. They are always better. Now I have some cases of 4 cases from Estonia, very recent ones. One is recent because Tartu is cultural capital of Europe this year, and the others are exactly from this year. One is about ruins. One is about historic old town center like Kuldiga. One is about UNESCO city like Tallinn. And one is your twin neighbor city, that is Valka. And then I have one cultural landscape hydroelectric power plant case. So, Tartu Cathedral case was actually in 2022. It was so that actually the developers, if you know Tartu, have you been in Tartu? Yes? You know the dome, you know the cathedral, you know the symbolic value of it. It is in the public park, it is owned by it is public space, it is owned by Tartu University, where there is a museum, and there it is exactly the place in the center of Tartu where the open concerts, everything happens, because around in the park there are bats and everything. You cannot have concerts there. This is the only place you can have concerts. And then there were rumors that there is going to be, as it comes to the capital of culture until 2024, some development there. Museum has asked for historical light shows there, but then the private entrepreneur wanted to have a restaurant there. In Glass Cube. And first place where ICOMOS Estonia heard about that was actually from the posthumous newspaper, told by that at the time Director General of the Heritage Board, and I quote, "I very much welcome any function that is given to a defunct legacy. The best legacy is legacy in use. If the part of the ruins of Tartu Cathedral finds an awesome function, it will be very welcome. This could be a model for the use of church ruins, of which there are many in Estonia. But we use what is preserved so that the original remains undamaged." So that was a surprise. And then it turned out that actually there is application on site, and then ICOMOS Estonia was asked about the opinion. And it was within 2 weeks, and by 15th, and that is the size of the restaurant, private restaurant there, and within the 2 weeks we had to formulate the opinion of ICOMOS Estonia, whether it is in accordance or whether it is it is worth to go on with that idea. As well as Heritage Board, because in the sense it was green light from the side of the Heritage Board, basically at that time. So ICOMOS Estonia made a letter that the new edition must support and help bring out previously created values. And there were two ideas in the application to us, or one was that actually FARA convention is that actually everything must be in use and in the service of people, and the other was about that new must be new and old must be old. Exactly, the Venice Charter, and of course when you must put in use, not in use, but reuse, of course. Something else than it was. So we said that the restaurant doesn't value, but exploits and destroys the cultural value of the cathedral ruins. And building a restaurant in the ruins of the cathedral closes the public space and doesn't allow public activities and events to continue there, which didn't violate the image of the cultural monument and took into account the dignity of the monument. And as we made it a public letter, it was actually taken out, and the outcome was that this project didn't go further. And that's good, because when public spaces are, of course, it gives your market value, sky-high market value, but not every ruin has to be exploited that way. The other case is about Valga, and about the heritage communities that want their values to be preserved. That has been the outcome of several years of work from the 2015, 2016, when actually Valga municipality was against heritage conservation area at the site, and now during some last 4 years there have been done tremendous work on preserving the existing values, of cleaning the structures, and of applying for new finances to improve the status of this border town somewhere in the outskirts of Estonia. The historic city center of Valga is in Valga, so it is in the sense the heritage of you too. And during the process of making new management plans of historic conservation areas, there were inventories done in 11 city centers of Estonia, and there was a regulation that there is a small group working on the new management plan of Valga Historic Center. And suddenly, in the beginning of 2024, we got a letter that there is a new expertise that says that Valga is not worth to be under protection. And then then was a public hearing about that it doesn't have so many integrity and authenticity as before. And in the light of new 2018 Heritage Conservation Act, it doesn't meet the standards of that act. Although there are listed buildings, there are more than in Võru, for example, or any other town around. So it was quite a surprise. Moreover, because both Heritage Council, Architectural Council of Heritage Board have said that it must stay under heritage conservation, and Heritage Society later made a letter too. And we made a public letter that before the open hearing that actually it meets the standards, there are the values, this is the structure, streets are there, buildings, many buildings have been preserved, and moreover, the Valga heritage community, represented by the Valga Council, unanimously. You don't have local community normal-wise or local government, raising all 100 hands or 100% hands there, supports the continuation of the heritage conservation area and expects the continuation of 30 years of national competence and support for the protection and promotion of cultural heritage in the urban core of the border town Valga. The municipal government has promised to ensure that new developments are planned in accordance with the conservation objectives of the heritage area. So actually, where you have this great cooperation at hand, it's actually not so good to just say, oh, actually, we don't deal with you in the border of Valga. So we do hope that Valga stays the heritage conservation area. Now we have a very beautiful cultural landscape with archaeology there, with a functioning hydroelectric power plant from 1922, and with Raine Karpsaar addition there, and dam lake, and 2.7 kilometers downward there is a Jägala waterfall. And besides being a monument of listed monument, This area is Natura 2000 area. And Natura 2000 directive, according to the conservation aims, this dam should be demolished so that salmons can go up 2 kilometers up to Jagala waterfall. And dam lake should be extinguished there, yeah. Not taken down. Dam lake should be taken down. Here, we made in 2022 joint letter with the Estonian Architects Union, the Estonian Civil Engineers Union, the Estonian Water Engineers Union, the Estonian Mill Warehouse, the Estonian Water Association, Heritage Society, Architectural Museum, and Concrete Association that it should be kept, that there is an overwhelming public interest in favor of keeping this complex. And planned limitation of the functioning of the water structure and the partial intention of demolishing the structure in the protection zone is not applicable and totally disregards the goals of the protection of national cultural monuments and the protection zone. That means that actually we are taking this industrial site in the holistic, functional, operational totality, that actually when you keep only some parts of it, you don't keep the monument. And then and in this case, the Natura 2000 exceptions are met, that the cultural monuments and their protection zone are in danger of destruction, and there is no alternative for the preservation of cultural heritage. And there is an overwhelming public interest in the preservation of cultural heritage. And there is preserves existing nature conservation values, and nature conservation restoration potential can be realized elsewhere. When we made this letter in 2022, then it went to the government, and government has actually put to the environmental board that actually the cultural heritage values are at this point overwhelming public interest, and actually it should be kept. But this year, they made a new environmental board made a new environmental impact assessment where it asked for the opinion of another cultural heritage expert, which was historian, who said that it's okay actually to demolish it. So we are in the state that we had to write again the letter. Let's see what happens there. It is a collision of nature protection law and heritage conservation regulations. It can go up to Supreme Court. The third. In this case, ICOMOS Estonia was together with Heritage Board, and our heritage community was united together with local governments in the case of hydroelectric power plant case. In the case of Estonia Opera House, our heritage communities are unanimous of keeping Estonia Opera House and UNESCO World Old Town Tallinn integrity and authenticity with minimal additions. You have been probably in Tallinn too, so it is a known site too. The case itself is that in 2007, Estonians love opera too. And in 2007, there was what to do to meet the needs of bigger room for opera. There were basically three calculations done then in Estonian kronas, economic calculations too, that first to make extension of the existing building, secondly just to reconstruct the existing building, and thirdly to make a new building somewhere else, not as an addition to existing building. So these proposals were put in 2020 again to the Parliament, but Cultural Commission Cultural Commission of the Parliament chose for one option only. It didn't put to the Parliament 3 possible options, but there should be extension of the ICOMOS, there should be extension of Estonia Opera House in the volume you see down there, because that meets the current standards. And ICOMOS Estonia made instantly the note that actually it doesn't correspond to the conservation values, it doesn't correspond to the Old Town Tallinn conservation rules, and it doesn't correspond to UNESCO buffer zone. That was in UNESCO zone principles there. But the Parliament made a decision of financing extension, not giving money to the hall and to think where to put and how to put it, but Parliament gave money to the extension of Opera House. And now we have a specific peculiar thing. Heritage Councils of Heritage Board and Cultural Ministry say no in May 2021. Heritage Board itself says no in 24th of May 2021. Tallinn City Government says no in 1st of June 2024. And Parliament decision about the extension of Estonia Opera House is made in 21st of September 2024 with no other place than this Opera House itself. And then to solve the situation, the joint committee comes together of Estonia Opera House members, heritage, and all the parties. They disagree because there is a structural disagreement there. But at the same time, the new plan of the new extension of the Opera House is put forward to UNESCO. And at the same time, Heritage Boards makes a new special conditions saying that there should be no more in total amount of being bigger than a third of the volume. And in 2024, after several years of all the newspapers, whatever, you know, UNESCO says no. Project is in conflict with sustaining the outstanding universal cultural heritage values of the existing there and of the outstanding universal value of the historic center to which it contributes. Seems to be a regrettable consequence of failing to demonstrate the practicality of the concept before seeking funding for it. And the concept should be realized elsewhere or with a very, very few amount of time. So in that sense, it has been, let's say, a success story of heritage communities of Estonia against politicians, you know. So sometimes you have to have these talks too there. But what happens with that, let's see, because heritage impact assessment has to be made because we do have the new heritage impact assessment, and it will be interesting times ahead. Just to remind again on the Convention of the Cultural Heritage for Society that the parties signing the convention must take into account all heritage aspects of the cultural environment, and it is not. It is cultural environment in totality, that there should be cultural heritage impact assessment and integrated approach to policies concerning cultural, biological, geological landscape diversity, and social cohesion by fostering a sense of shared responsibility towards the places in people live. That means the cultural identities that are so much attacked in nowadays in the political and environmental catastrophes. And when you promote the objective of quality in contemporary additions to the environment, you should do that without endangering its cultural value. Yeah. And welcome to Tallinn soon, because we are talking about energy efficiency and how to deal with these aspects without endangering the values. Thank you.